which Corey's going to hit it off right here about. Someone out in chat decided that it was really important for us to pay attention to one company that we really weren't, and that was
Sure.
EHang. And as a result, we started to do our digging, and as we dug more and more and more, we were intrigued because we knew they were out there. But I'll let Corey take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So the next one, as Mike kind of lead it, had somebody at one of our comments saying, "Hey guys, can you take a look at EHang, or what about EHang?" So EHang is one we had on our radar. We haven't really focused on it before that they've done, but just this segment's a little bit more. So if you're not familiar, well, here we go. It's a company that's done smaller size drones for a while. It's out of China, and they are now involved in doing larger urban air mobility vehicles, and they're actually making some pretty good inroads. So basically, EHang, they've conducted basically flight tests in different environments, including, they say, in a typhoon. So that's kind of cool. Okay. And numerous public demonstrations. They're going to Hong Kong. They're in China, China. Did some stuff in Japan, stuff in Korea. So they're trying to spread out again, and see, and kind of make some influence over there. And they're in the certification phase.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already done flight testing. They've got multiple models. We'll talk models. They got a shorter range one called the now I say it's the 216, but what is it?
The 216?
The EH216. Yeah, the EH216. It's
right.
more like a quad, or well, not quad. It's got more than 4 motors, but it's more like that kind of setup.
Right.
Where it's all like there's a vehicle in the middle, and then it has the rotors around the outside. And then they have one called the VT30, and that is their longer range. They can use it for some cargo as well. Intra-city. They're talking something in the range of 300 kilometers for that one. About 100 minutes of flight, that kind of thing too. So, and that's also electric, right? So they've got some different things going on there.
I'm just actually, there's a picture here, and I just have to talk about this for a second.
Okay,
so
sure.
This is the 216 that showed in the picture, and it showed actually going just about over Midtown Manhattan. The reason why I know, because that's where my old office building was. However, what they do have pictured here right now is they have heliports on the roofs of the buildings, but somebody must have forgot that it's still illegal to land on the roof of a building in New York City. So that's one thing.
Never that's details, Mike.
That's details, right? So they're really looking forward to the future, because that's just happening. But this is the 216. Yeah. I'm just going to bring up another vision here of the 216. So
that is it.
It's tiny. I mean, it's basically a two-seater drone, right?
It's got rotors. You can see on I think there's 8, or what is it? Is there 1, 2, 3, 4?
Quite a few.
8. But I mean, there's 2, right? There's one on top, one on the bottom. That probably helps with efficiency, but also they could probably run them a bit slower,
right?
So they don't need as much noise, possibly. I'm kind of a bit of speculation there,
right?
And some of the things I've seen, they say about 150 meters as it's flying over the crowd, 86, 87 decibels. So again, something you would notice, but not obscenely loud.
That's pretty loud, though.
I mean, it's loud.
It's loud.
It's loud. A busy city, 60 to 70 decibels, so it's loud.
It's that buzzing loud, though. It's that like the
drone.
It's a bee loud, it's buzzing
sound.
Right.
So really no surprise there with the smaller rotors, as we've said before in other things. We know to cover the same amount of lift area you might need, like a helicopter blade speed. If you're gonna generate that same amount of lift blade, you need to either spin them faster, which you may not be able to do, or have a bunch more of them.
Right.
We got a whole bunch more here. But yeah, out of there, more 35 kilometers a range with max payload. So short range, right? Not talking very far. 130 kilometers, and they say in 220 kilograms of payload. So basically 2 people. 2 people, that not too large. I don't know if you have the video or the picture there, but the arms fold up.
They do.
The arms all fold up, and it fits in a bit smaller space. One thing we were talking about just earlier, I don't know, do you want to go into how it communicates with base?
Yeah, right now I'm just showing some videos of the high maneuvering test flights, the things that they've put up. So
the other vehicles.
Yeah, so they're testing in Typhoon Force 8, I guess they said it. I mean, look, so I guess we just have to acknowledge, number one, they actually do have flying prototypes. Number two, they've had people on board.
Okay, so
they've been manned. And they have made those massive inroads. Okay, they might not have, like you said, the resistance that there is because the infrastructure in China, they're just kind of flying drones and they don't have a ton of infrastructure at this moment. But we don't know, particularly what it is. But it looks like, for the most part, they're ahead of the game. However, I will say this: they're not quite. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not unique enough more than just basically a high value DJI kind of design with people put on top of it. I mean, let's face it, they're not really breaking any ground here and what's happening in the development, but they're using that to their advantage because they're perfecting what's basically already in existence and using that to move forward, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, evolution of technology usage. Doesn't mean it doesn't have a place. We're not saying that for sure. They're already doing some things over there, and we know this market is expanding, like we mentioned before. It's Airtaxis is something that the public is becoming more warmed up to.
Right.
That was one of the other things we mentioned before. You can have all these devices flying around, but if people don't, have the ambition or the on board, not gonna go anywhere.
Not gonna go over
physically and literally, right? But so people are warming up to that, and it seems also that in China this company is well received as far as what they're trying to do. So we'll lead to be seen what how far they can stretch and
right,
and how it goes for them. Really, I'm interested to see their solutions when they actually get operational. They're actually doing work. How their solutions to battery recharge or battery swap, like what are they actually going to do? What's the real world range with 2 people on board? With an actual job. Hey, you want to go 40 miles, or you know what I mean? Go a distance that way.
Right.
How far it's going to take, and then turnaround time because it's a business now.
That's a little louder than I wanted. Hold
on. We'll watch the video here.
We'll just go further.
I'll be quiet.
Now, our goal is to improve urban public transportation and make urban commuting safer, greener, and more efficient.
Hold on, let's make this a little bigger. There you go.
Bam.
We have all the technologies.
EHang's autonomous aerial vehicles are safe and stable aircraft that are essential for urban air mobility.
Oh, yeah.
They do not require extensive flight experience. The future is here today.
Now, this music is better. The other music was worse before.
It's something totally different. When you fly over the lake, it's really high up and it's great. I really loved it.
真的是特别的荣幸，也很幸运因为我是第一个在城市之间乘坐EHang 216出行的人。
But taking the airspace into use is fantastic potential, both for transporting goods and then also eventually people.
EHang's AAVs have unique features that differentiate them from other proposed urban air mobility solutions. Their full redundancy systems are continuously optimized to be able to respond to different situations and keep passengers safe. Furthermore, the autopilot of the AAV can provide passengers with a relaxing, stress-free flight experience powered by clean energy. The modularized EHang E-Port supports a complete automatic circulation system. Just like a transportation hub for more traditional transportation methods, like trains and airplanes. Neither runway nor ground space are required for aerial vehicles to take off and land. With this system, traffic circulation is greatly improved. This is an innovative new approach to managing traffic and minimizing congestion within urban areas.
That's a lot of infrastructure to put into a building. And
that looks really cool, but
that's a lot.
Inside the E-Port, the conveyor as well as the parking bots keep the system running smoothly.
I won't talk over the video too much, but this is straight volume. There's the battery I was talking about that they could just swap out. Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's a mobility device.
That's the thing that moves it around.
AAVs can be transported to different areas automatically
Charger?
for berthing, charging, and
I
maintenance.
guess so.
And can be called to vertiports for the next flight.
That's a lot of infrastructure for the volume of flying that they're looking at. I mean, that's a ton of infrastructure. This is to build one of these looks like it could probably take 10 years. One of these
The building,
yeah.
it's looks very efficient once built.
In CGI.
But what's the range again?
Yeah,
You're gonna have crazy volume for a range of, well, what did they say, 40 kilometers?
40 kilometers, which isn't, you know,
EHang's
you're going to have 20 of these
also
things.
enables
there.
point-to-point flights or
35
urban routes. Managed by trained pilots, it is a highly intelligent backstage control center that coordinates vehicle dispatch,
And this is that
route
infrastructure
planning,
that we're
This is what
talking
we're
about.
and
talking about.
safety
If they
for
ever need
EHang
a real pilot to
AAVs
take over,
to
they have that
ensure that
ability with
every
them.
flight is completed
That's the-
smoothly and safely. For us, innovation means helping people get from point A to point B faster, more comfortably, and more sustainably. In the near future, this system will work for every one of us. EHang AAVs will become an
Unless you don't
essential
like
part of
flying
our
on small
daily
vehicles.
life, flying us
Yeah.
into the
Well,
future
that's what
of
some
urban
people
air
are-
mobility.
Flight anyway.
Right.
Well, there are people that don't want to get on jets, and
So this is just basically exploring the idea of what the urban air mobility will be for the future, right? And look, so we show you that, and we don't mean to make fun of their
no, I'm not
their
making-
objectives and what they're going to do.
yeah.
That's an elaborate view for the future. That's massive infrastructure. So it's going to take a lot to put that into place. So I imagine that the first few e-ports that they're going to build won't have these, fancy machines and robots that move everything for you. It's going to be like 6 of these things on one side of town and 6 on the other. And they're basically going to do crisscrossing flights from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning. Then they're
Yeah.
going to sit and recharge. And then you're going to probably start up again at 4 till 6. And it's going to run something like that until they prove that it's going to be viable, right?
Brad says, did you say the noise level is 60? No, what I saw was that if the vehicle, they actually had a vehicle with people on board and it was flying above a crowd for demonstration purposes, decibel level when it was flying above the crowd at 150 meters was 86 decibels, about 586. So mid 80s flying above you, urban environment probably.
All right, so basically, let's take a look at some things that might be 80 decibels. So 80 decibels will be something like a garbage disposal, a dishwasher, average factory, freight train at 15 meters, a car wash at 20 feet, propeller plane flying over at 1,000 feet, diesel truck at 40 miles an hour. So it's not arbitrarily
loud, right?
It's not loud, but it's not going to be quiet either. So let's just say it's it's not going to be like, oh my god, this is super loud, but it's going to be like you put 10 of them overhead though.
Yeah.
10
Well,
of them
it's
overhead.
they're a motorcycle at 25 feet. No,
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to judge.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, as you say, garbage disposal, average factory. So freight train at 15 meters.
Okay, so here's my thing. So if you look at this chart again, right, you look at what's at 100 decibels, and that is a Bell J2 helicopter at 100 feet. Okay, so here's the difference, right? I could imagine that if you get 3 of these in a line flying in an urban environment, it might get a little annoying. You'd have to probably space them out so you're not getting one every 3 minutes to the point where it's like just a constant drone
And that
of
is
blades, right?
That is a valid point to bring up because being pilots, we fly in a lot of airports,
Mm-hmm.
and invariably at airports, at your home base airport, you hear about local
Noise abatement.
noise abatement.
Yep.
Well, any airport you go to, you're gonna have those procedures, but your local airport where you land and take off from, communication with ops people there, and invariably we always have some area
Complaint.
lives in the area that is not happy that they're
No.
flying over. And you could just imagine, as us, we look at, I need to fly, it's my job, fine. But you can imagine if your house was at the end of a runway and planes are taking off and landing basically all day long, you might
A little
have an
perturbed.
opinion about that.
Yes.
So and what we're bringing up with this, the urban air mobility, is the volume at which these companies wish to operate
Mm-hmm.
in the urban space. Well, like you said, has a valid concern to noise and the route they go, not just for possible landing areas needed, but also
Yeah.
it might be something that the more operations that would take place would be in like the more business centers,
Right.
and then any the residential areas there'd be ops through, or they'd go. They have to fly over parks and stuff. We'll just have to see.
Or over highways.
Yeah, over
yeah.
highways where there's already noise expected. Let's say.
When we talk about IFR, sometimes it's not flying in the intrameteorological conditions. It's also I follow roads, because in many cases, if you're in a noise abatement area, they do have you fly directly over a road and then make late turns, and especially for helicopters, because they are notoriously louder than, say, your average Cessna. And even though sometimes a Cessna could be equal sized, if not smaller, a helicopter generally puts out almost, I'd say on average 20 decibels, if not more, at these same levels, because of the way that they fly.
And the nature of the beast too. If you have an airplane coming in an airport, they'll have a lot of times 1,000-foot heavy. The final pattern for a GA flight, you'd be 1,000 feet.
Right.
To avoid any conflict with traffic, a lot of times they'll have helicopters, which are the more maneuverable, come in lower, so your helicopter's flying over an airport. If you airports and helicopters flying over real low, 500, 400 feet, maybe less, depending where they're going on the airfield. So they're loud. They're loud.
Now, it goes without saying, in Manhattan right now, there's very strict noise abatement rules for helicopter tours taking out of the South Street Seaport area for those tours, right? And other places do follow suit with that. So noise will always be a factor when these things start to contribute to the mobility of human beings in urban areas. Hey, we're out of time. I'm out of time. You're out of time. Yeah. We appreciate you guys tuning in today. Thank you so much. We again like, subscribe, and follow. And the other part of it is that we're appreciative of the 250 subscribers. Thanks so much.